Welcome to the Main Street Business Insight podcast,
featuring the stories of America's downtown and neighborhood entrepreneurs.
There's so much about being a Main Street business that is intertwined with what it means to be part of a community.
The impact that it has on creating jobs, occupying vacant storefronts, improving the quality of life, like this is a big deal.
What advice would you give to other Main Street businesses?
Investing in yourself is the most important thing that you can do.
What was that experience like for you to reach out and, learn from others?
Any entrepreneur getting into business, I highly recommend find the people that you trust that'll tell you the thing you may or may not want to hear when you need to hear it, and who will stand by you in helping to solve your challenges.
Bienvenidos, and welcome to another episode of the Main Street Business Inside podcast. Roberto, my friend here, is laughing, of course, because my Spanish is pretty weak.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying.
I'm going to try my English too.
But so glad to be here in San Germán, Puerto Rico, with my new amigo, Roberto Melendez. He's the owner of Porticos restaurant here along the plaza in downtown San Germán. And I'm here as part of a project that really my amazing colleagues have been working on at Main Street America, where we've been engaged in community planning efforts in support of disaster mitigation in 5 cities in the southern part of Puerto Rico. If you've got your geography hats on, I want to really extend a special thanks to our partners and friends and really supporters of this at Vivienda and Foundation Puerto Rico and Atkins. They've been great partners for us, and we couldn't do this without obviously their support. As many of you know, we are seeing and experiencing really more tragic events all across the globe, with natural disasters and weather activity like no other time. And there are a few places, I think, around the world that have experienced more tragic events in a short period of time than Puerto Rico. And I thought we would use this podcast while I was here with my colleague is really a great opportunity for our listeners, our small business owners out there, our community leaders, to really learn firsthand about how to perhaps prepare, how to think about both from the community and the small business side, really around this, preparation to recovery that every business and community leader must go through. And so I'm sitting with one of the leaders of that. Whether he knows it or not, he certainly is, and has really played a central role in thinking through and working on these issues. So it's with great pleasure that I welcome Roberto to the show. Welcome.
Thanks a lot. My name is Roberto Melendez. I'm an architect, also study marketing and human resources. I have a love for history as my preparation as architect. So what better place to be in San Germán? San Germán is full of architecture, the roads, the museum, the churches. So this is the place if you want to do something as I dream of, to do a business. This is the place. The people ask me about why you as the architect are you doing this? And 2 answers for that. The place was available for rent.
Number one,
it spent like 4 years closed. And then there was a challenge. The challenge maybe in October 2019, I was talking with my wife, spending time with her, and she just asked me a question, when?
And you're like, when what?
When what? Really, Matt, that was when what? And she just answered just like, truly, when you're going to do your business, your restaurant, you always have been cooking with your friends, you always have been attending bars. So this is the time for you design your own business plan as an architect, with a scope of marketing. So that ignited fire on my mind, maybe.
Yeah.
So I went to my table. I always have a table drawing beside my bed.
You're always doing sketches, I can imagine.
Grab the table, grab some papers, and just start drawing. So I got the carpet here. This is
this the first?
this is the
the
process.
first evolution.
This is the first
Look
process
at that.
of developing, but it's Porticos 16. You don't see a lot of drawing, you see a lot of board. Those are designing ideas, sketches. And after that, I presented this to my wife. And she
Was
said,
this like your version of a business plan, Roberto?
no. And she goes, okay, that's fine. And what you going to give to San Germán, to the community?
Oh, that's interesting.
Another curve she told me.
Yes.
So
I can see this relationship right now.
then I grabbed my computer, put it on side, start searching, start reading, looking for historic moments in San Germán, because if I'm going to base something in this historic building, has to be attached to the history of the building, maybe the year or the next 50 years.
But some connection either from the past, but also with the thought of looking to the future.
So,
Sounds like.
so if you go to San Germán, search San Germán, which is the first picture that you get in the searching.
I'm going to guess the church.
The church, Porticelli. And I got it. I said, okay, I already got Porticos. Porticos means entrance, access. Porticelli is portar del cielo, la entrada al cielo. So I got this link, but I cannot use the name of the church to the name of the business. So, name and second name, Porticos 1606. So that's how it started. That's how I was inspired to gather the concept and to develop what is already today of 5 years of experience, Porticos 1606.
When you were going through this process, I mean, you're an architect, you're a professional, like you've done work for the university or continue to, I mean, you're big. And whether you know it or not, in the architectural field. And so now, like, to switch, it sort of uses a different part of your brain to think business. What was that like for you to kind of switch, or did it not? Did it seem natural for you?
It's natural because I studied marketing first.
Okay.
And then your preparation as an architect, you can design everything. Even from a key change to a chair, to what we see already in our background here. So it's easy. Now you're designing for serving and hospitality. That's what you're.
I like how you made that connection on the design front.
Right.
Yes.
If you go to the meaning of Porticos, it means access and entrance. It's the access to the Caribbean. It's the access to the flavors of the Caribbean. And if you see the first drawing here, I draw the little flags, and it's a gallery of the pillars of the Caribbean islands, the big islands, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. That's the easy part and the connection that you're asking me, Matt.
Yes.
Is at ease.
Now, I know on the video cast, obviously you can see this. For those on the podcast, on the audio only, the interesting thing that Roberto probably doesn't know is, and for you Main Streeters out there, is the 4-point approach. Roberto worked in the 4-point approach in some ways with the business concept. I'm always fascinated because obviously we travel around a lot, talk to many small businesses and communities, and they're always different. As much as we think things might be similar, there's always unique challenges and opportunities. And I wonder, when you think about doing business and running a business in Puerto Rico, what are some of the biggest hurdles you've had to overcome?
Hurdles here?
Hurdles.
Government, permits,
Maybe things are very similar.
Infrastructure. Those are the biggest order. Power shortage, water shortage.
Mhm.
Those are the biggest orders. In me as an architect, I know about maybe the permits.
Yeah.
That is an advantage. I did my own permits.
Okay.
I know a little bit about the rules and how much time that I have to make the process
Yes.
and inspection. If they don't come, they have to give me the permit. So I know that those shortcuts maybe, and that's an advantage for me.
Yeah.
But the people that don't know and the government will delay everything.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to, but it's the natural process.
Did you feel that there was, if you took off your architect hat and you didn't have that background, do you feel like, is there an adequate support system for other small business owners, entrepreneurs that might want to do something similar, or you just kind of got to figure it out?
Well, here in the municipality of San Germán, they have an office for that.
Okay.
There's one of the restaurants that started after me.
Okay.
They had problems with maybe a professional they had in contract, and they went to the municipality, and the problems were solved.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage that here in San Germán, they have that in the office.
Now you mentioned, infrastructure, from utilities, maybe water, sewer, stormwater, sewer, or whatever. How have you thought about how you could mitigate some of that? What have you done in response?
Well, can I go maybe to the disaster
Yes.
and then go to the how we
Yeah,
get out of
please.
that?
Yeah, please.
So everybody knows about Maria,
Yeah.
2017. But this business started at 2020. It began designing in 2019. And when we got, I was in California, I got here to Puerto Rico in January, already started the earthquakes.
From one to another.
From one to another, you got the earthquakes, so people are afraid to get out. People are staying at home. And not short after that, COVID. So we have a shutdown in March. The whole island. I was painting here with my business partner. We both work at the university.
Okay.
So we were painting the building. We get a message. You have to pick up your computers. You go remotely. But it's not COVID-19,
Yeah.
And you have to stay at your home. So the business is closed.
So now you have the pandemic to deal with.
Reparations undergo, billings adding up. So we took advantage of that time. We set meetings at my home. We studied the menu. We practiced the menu with the chef. After the time was more flexible with the COVID rules.
Yes.
So we got meetings here on the restaurant with friends, private lunches. And that was an advantage on COVID. And June 10 or June 8, we opened the doors for Porticos, but it was only to pick up.
Okay, you just had pickup
If you
service.
go to upstairs, you can still see the stickers. I left them on purpose on the floor because I want to remember
for the distance.
the distance
spacing.
and says, here's your order line, this is your pickup line.
Yeah.
And it's on the floor right now. If you go upstairs, Matt, you will see that. So that's
It's the
the
legacy.
time to remember where we were only maybe my daughter was at the phone, I was at the line packaging,
Yeah.
and my business partner was in the kitchen. 3 employees managed to open Porticos. There were 88 orders the first day. So that's a good start. After that, after COVID, we did open the business for full assistance and within the rules. We drive 2 years. So now we are in 2022.
Yes.
Hurricane Fiona. So we got earthquake, we got COVID. And now, as the time settled, we were more tranquil.
Yeah, it's almost like you felt like maybe I've got a new norm here. And I settle in.
Let me go to the wave.
Yeah.
This is great. Business is good. And the business was still changing because as you develop a business, it maybe takes you like 5 years to really know where you're going or the changes that you have to make.
Yeah, what kind of shifts or adaptations do you need to make in the business?
Equipment. Because then it came Fiona. And Fiona was not hard as Maria in winds, but in rain, it hit us hard.
Okay.
So we have this underground infrastructure here in
Which is where we're recording right now.
Yeah. So the infrastructure, electricity infrastructure goes underground. That was underwater. As protection, breakers went
Shut
out.
off because it was wet.
Shut off.
Yes. Those things.
So
don't
nobody
mix.
know where the breakers were. New municipality government, they didn't know. So when the electrical company came and started bringing up the breakers, that street turned on, the other street turned on with the hospital,
Yes.
and the two plazas stayed dark.
So the whole plaza out in front of Porticos was dark.
Dark as a mouth of a wolf.
Yes. It's a good way to put it.
So that lasted 4 weeks.
How long?
4 weeks.
4 weeks?
4 weeks with
Oh.
no generator. So, as I told you before, there was an event that we bent the knee. We were here down here. I got tripped.
Yeah.
We were here, and Javier is the head cook. He was crying on that corner because we're discarding all the food.
Yeah, because you had no refrigeration.
So that make a decision. You have to adapt.
Yeah.
You have to adapt. You have to be flexible. You have to make decisions quickly. So in that moment, I went home on my pickup, put the generator of my home, went to my neighbor. That's the networking that you have to be able
Yes.
to do. He's an electrical engineer. We put how you call it?
Like a transformer or
Yeah,
like a temporary?
temporary
Yeah.
to make the connection.
Yeah.
And we managed to do times lapse for the air conditioner.
So that you wouldn't, so you could use the power correctly. you know?
So we do maybe 10 hours for the fridge and the
Okay.
coolers. Then we managed to call all the community. We are going to be opening only a few hours. The menu is going to be 2 plates.
Yeah.
Uh,
Simplify everything.
And we are going to be attending personally the owners, no employees. And for a short period, we're going to have air conditioning so you can feel comfortable. You have a place to relax, a place to be safe, a place to eat well. So the people responded. Maybe that was done as if I go back to the COVID era,
Yes.
we managed to put this as a vaccine center too. We vaccine every restaurant in the area in this
So
restaurant.
this became almost like
And
a
that-
community hub.
And that are things that you have to do to try to be ahead, maybe
Yeah.
on top of the game. Start to do those networking with the community, your own business, other business, because all the restaurants didn't have any employee had the vaccine, so they couldn't start their opening.
Yeah, you couldn't get open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the law.
Okay.
So we did the center here. And if I go back to the Fiona era, people responded because of that. Maybe they felt the connection between us, the restaurant, and the place.
One really important aspect of infrastructure is obviously communication. How did you communicate with your employees once you were able to put together a generator so you could start serving. How did the community know? How did you get, the word out to?
They saw the light.
They what? They saw the light. That's right, because it was dark.
It was dark.
It was dark.
The generator, it was,
Yeah.
it was so loud.
Who is running the
Who's
generator?
running? It's the only light in the town right now. So
That is
and
amazing.
then the word of mouth.
Yes.
Word of mouth. That's always first communication.
And do you feel that in some ways, and not to put words in your mouth, but I'm sure obviously the food is great and they want to come for great food, but do you think there was a sort of a higher meaning for people to come and gather?
They felt it because maybe I'm not a great talker, but I do write. So I went to the media and I sent a message, open message in the Facebook, in the Google, in the TripAdvisor. And it was an open message to the community. We're doing this. This is happening to us. Please support the restaurant.
Yes.
Please support the restaurant. We're going to be opening a few hours. And it was great because you see the one who has the other business, painting business. He came with the family, everybody. And they spent maybe $300 that night. And then it came another, the owner of the pharmacy with the family, and then spend $300. Then you do $600, maybe $900 in night with 4 hours. Okay, this pays the expenses.
Yes. We could stay open.
We can stay open. We can go through this event.
Yes.
After this, we're gonna have to make serious decisions because this is gonna continue.
Yeah.
And if you see the buildings and historic buildings, it's difficult to put or arrange new scenes as technology to it because you got your barriers.
Yes.
Luckily, after that, we managed to talk to a small business, SBA, and we got a loan.
Okay, so you worked through the Small Business Administration.
We went through that. We got a loan. First thing we did, that baby is out there.
The generator.
Yeah, 56 cakes.
Yes.
It runs the whole building.
That seems to be a number one, must have is
But you
backup
can-
generation.
If you have the financial support at the beginning,
Yes.
my recommendation is to do. You have to
To
do
have
it.
backup.
If not, you have to pursue it, manage, and save some money because it's going to be an investment that maybe I don't want to talk about disaster as a good income,
Yeah.
but it will help you to go through and your business will thrive.
One of the I think the hallmarks of Main Street businesses is the connection with community, obviously between the small business and the community out there. What was your sense of, I don't want to say obligation, but thinking, okay, I'm here for the community, but also what can I give back to the community? Is there a sense like something you shoulder that's critical that you do as a business owner?
You have to do it. It's part of the business. If you don't do it, you have two types of customers or guests.
Okay.
You got the local and the tourist visitors, the outside visitors. This is a small island. So everybody can visit.
Yeah, it's a tourism economy.
Within 2 hours of driving. But if you don't give to the rifle community, if you don't give to the local baseball team, if you don't give with the basketball tradition that we have here in San Germán, and whatever other activities in intra-curricular activities that you want to have outside of your business, you have to be alert, pay attention, maybe what is doing the other business to maybe learn from them.
Yeah.
Their triumph and mistakes too. You have to take both sides. So it's part of the formula to be alert to be within the community.
Yeah, yeah. What have you learned over the last many years of experiencing, natural events and having to shut down, reopen? What are some of the, like, if you could go back, what would you have done differently, or how would you prepare?
I will have the generator first. Because
Generator number one.
Yeah,
Check.
we got maybe through so many tough times, but when it came to hit us hard, it did. So because maybe we spent power shortage of 2 days,
Okay.
1 day, and you can manage that with ice, and if you got your freezer that stays 72 hours, then you have to move your food or start cooking your food, and so you got methods to go through that. But after the 3, 4, 6, 1 week, you get worried.
Yeah.
And you
we
have
call that, you can't band-aid your way through that.
No. So that's, and I remember the first, there's a Mexican restaurant here, and he told me, when you have the money, get the generator. So you have to listen
Yes.
the other business too.
Okay.
You have to, there are people here that maybe have, I have 5 years, but there are people here that have 10 years, 30 years of experience. So you have to visit those other restaurants maybe and establish those networking.
Yeah.
Establish a networking with your suppliers too. That's
a
important.
really good point.
That's
Yes.
important.
Explain, talk about that one a little bit
because
more.
you throw the food away, but you owe it. You have to pay it.
Yes.
So,
and then you need to be resupplied at some point.
So are they going to cut you a break?
Yes.
Are they going to be flexible? Because that's part of the, it's a two-way street. You have to be flexible the 2 ways. So they were good, really.
So relationship building with vendors is huge.
They were supportive. They gave us maybe 90 days.
Okay, for terms.
So that give you that first month of recovery. Then the second month, you already open full, and then you on the third month you start paying the first 30 days. So and then you do a catch up every week.
Yeah.
So you work for that.
Yeah, those are nervous times.
Yeah, those are, well, you have to have the support, your family, your friends, your business partner. We have to be willing and strong will of decisions.
Yeah.
To stay maybe tall and focused.
I'm sort of curious. Obviously, you're in the restaurant business, and maybe this isn't as critical, but I'm interested in your views. We see a lot of smaller businesses that maybe haven't fully transitioned or integrated technology into their business, whether it's just being online or the way that they communicate through social media. How has that played a role in your business, especially during perhaps some down times where you're able to leverage technology to communicate or what have you?
We haven't experienced that with maybe the internet.
Yes.
Maybe a short time. Now I'm starting to boost I didn't want to do that. I remain maybe 4 years organic.
Okay. In terms of your marketing.
In terms of my marketing, I developed maybe 11,000 followers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 11, Roberto.
No,
I'm like, we got work to do.
No, followers the organic way.
Yes. Okay.
But
11,000 organically?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's impressive.
After this is where we're standing is Barrio Pueblo.
Yes.
This is a product of Porticos. So if you are willing, you can do another venue. And we're doing this in another venue right now. So this business is different than Porticos. And that's what opened my eyes to start maybe boosting and paying some money. Someone told me that was here, a guest, you have to put money to make money.
You have to make an investment, right?
Yes, you have to be money to make money. So again, you have to listen. You have to be
It's around
every detail.
Yes,
every
have
detail.
a lot of smart people
and
around
maybe
you.
have a book like me and start writing. Keep the ideas for
Tip number 1, journal. Journal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep your ideas for later, and then you go back. I haven't do that. Let me do it now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. And I think I'd like to I always try to conclude the show with some advice because, I can maybe talk business from an academic sense, but you're living it each and every day. And, if we were sitting around the table with other business owners and we were all going around the table, like sharing, like, well, what would you suggest? What would be your advice? What have you learned over the years that you think is something you want to share?
You have to plan for the worst in this kind of business. This is a roller coaster business.
Yes.
Your days are up, your days are down. So every time, even if you don't have a disaster, you have to be planning for the worst. You have to develop a strong networking within the community and your suppliers. Have a backup financial backup. If you don't have it, you have to build it.
Yes. To kind of weather this, the colloquial storm.
You have to adapt, be flexible, and diversify.
Yes.
You have to stay, if in this business, you cannot stay with the same courses. You have to be open. And here we have a space, a window that we call it. It's the PDKI. It's as in English, ask for what you want.
Okay.
So that's the window for the kitchen to be creative, to innovate, innovar, how you said that, innovate,
Okay.
And diversify. And then you can go to, you cannot stay on the Caribbean, you can go maybe to Colombia, have a paisa, and then go to Venezuela, go to Brazil, go to Argentina, do different dishes. So you have to be all the time. That's what I like about this. As my career as an architect, it keeps me sharp because it's keep me all the time being creative.
Yes.
And it's like a dare to me and a dare to my employees.
Yes.
I like them crazy. There comes Roberto with another course. Here
he comes again.
He comes with another idea. He's not in the kitchen, but he always comes with another idea.
It's great. Roberto, I can't thank you enough that this advice of, kind of being nimble, agile, get a generator if you can, be prepared for the worst, I think is right. And hopefully you never have to break out that plan, but make sure you've got it. And
adapt. You got to adapt.
And adapt, And I think the other big thing that I come away with is the relational aspects, that if you're just staying in your business and you're not engaging not just with your customers, but the community and being a part of that community, when times do get tough, who's going to have your back? And I can't thank you enough for joining me on the show and just really lending your advice and knowledge to our other small business owners out there. It's people like you that make a difference every day in your community, but also in the sort of more macro small business community. So thank you so much, Roberto. Really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, Matt. Really, thank you. Everybody, come to Puerto Rico.
Come to Puerto Rico.
Porticos 1606.
Look them up. It's good. Ciao.
I'm so appreciative of my time with Roberto and his reflections on dealing with disasters through the lens of his community and Porticos restaurant in San Germán, Puerto Rico. I think it goes without saying that Puerto Rico has seen so many disasters and earthquakes and is really a laboratory in some ways for insights and understanding as to how to prepare and work through recovery from a disaster. To provide some context, I think it's important to understand that in 2024, there were 27 weather-related or natural disasters with losses of more than $1 billion. Now, 27, of course, may not sound like a lot, but keep in mind, one, that number has been increasing, and two, that we're talking about a huge geographic scale. This is not like one community experiencing a natural disaster. We're talking about one disaster creating, massive losses across many states. You think about like Hurricane Milton or Helene, where, the category 4 hurricanes that made landfall in Florida, but stretched all the way to Georgia, South Carolina, Western North Carolina, flooding, and Eastern Tennessee as well, to derechos, these massively high wind events, sort of like wind shear, hitting places like Iowa, and of course, a big one that hit more recently from Texas all the way to Florida. Wildfires, of course, you've been seeing those in California most recently, but places like Nebraska and the Great Plains have seen noticeable surges in wildfire activity over the last couple of years. Now, these disasters, as we're learning, are not exclusive to these sort of traditional places that we had perhaps in the back of our mind. Like, okay, hurricanes only hit, Florida, or, the, New Orleans area, or that, flooding only occurs along the Mississippi. But the reality is, these places are increasing, they're getting stronger, and they're impacting way more small businesses. Now, there's still a lot to learn here in terms of how we more effectively prepare, be more resilient, and of course, be able to recover more quickly. We're going to be developing a lot more tools at Main Street America, and resources and guidance on how to adapt and how to recover. You can also start by downloading our first and newest and latest toolkit called the Main Street Disaster and Resilience Toolkit. That's available at mainstreet.org. So would encourage you to go to our website. You can download it for free, and hats off to the National Park Service for their support for allowing us to look at a variety of different case studies, develop new templates and content and great tips from peer communities and small businesses across the country on dealing with disaster recovery. So that's going to do it for this episode. And as always, if you're a business owner, and likewise to my place professional colleagues out there, I hope this episode has provided plenty of new insights and solutions and inspiration. And as consumers, please continue to support your local small businesses and, of course, tell their stories. They're so important to our local and national economies. And most importantly, they promote and provide quality of living to the places we all call home. It's as simple as that. So for additional resources, and of course, if you want to check out past episodes of the show, I encourage you to go to our Main Street America YouTube channel, and of course, rate and review us. Leave us a comment, please. Ask a question. I'm looking forward to them. And of course, subscribe so you can catch the next episode, where I'm going to be talking about the pivot. You may recall that word from the pandemic, but given sort of the challenging economy, a lot of small businesses are thinking about, where do I shift? How can I be more agile, given the economic and consumer headwinds that many small businesses are facing. So don't miss it. We'll see you then. And thanks, of course, for all the support.